My name is Michael Monks. I'm the editor, publisher, and founder of the River City News, an online daily digital newspaper that covers the city of Covington, the neighboring river cities in suburban northern Kentucky. I've lived in Covington since I was 12 years old when my family moved here from Louisville. My father was a police officer, my mother works for the court system, and my brother works at the jail, so I'm sort of the black sheep of the family and not being in law enforcement. There's something very interesting about the part of Covington that I live in. I've chosen to live in downtown Covington, and I live in a newly renovated apartment building. And what's really cool about this building is that before the building was finished, all of the units were rented. I think people want to live in a cool environment. I think they're okay with the fact that Covington is just now getting started in its rebirth. I think they want to watch it. I think they want to be a part of it. And frankly, it's a much more affordable urban lifestyle. Covington, if you look at it on a map, is shaped very strangely. And it's divided into about 20 neighborhoods. And maybe the word divided isn't exactly the right one because they're united by their commitment to the city overall. So you'll find in each of these neighborhoods an association. It usually has an email list and monthly meetings where people take charge of what's happening in their streets. And it's cool to get to know each of these neighborhoods because you find that even though they are all in the same city and we are all rowing the same boat, they all have very unique characteristics that make them all worth your time, worth your investment, worth your visit. You can go to historic-looking Riverside and you can see homes that predate the Civil War. They'll blow you away like a museum. You can go to the east side and drive down this sprawling boulevard that has a tree canopy over top it that is a stunning trip out in the afternoon. You can go to South Covington and feel that you are in the suburbs away from the city. You can live in a new home on a cul-de-sac. You can go to Latonia and live in the shadow of the beautiful Holy Cross Church and have a yard where your kids play in the street with their neighbor friends. You can go to Mainstrasse Village and live with an entertainment district right outside your front door. Covington has a lot of different patches that make up this very cool quilt that we call home. There aren't a lot of urban areas like Covington where you can go to a part of the city and be surrounded by acres and acres and acres of trees and grass, an 18-hole golf course, a band shell where the Kentucky Symphony Orchestra will play to hundreds of families, and to an overlook where you can feel yourself surrounded by nature while simultaneously taking in the most breathtaking view of the entire city all at the same time. Coming to DeVue Park is a new $5 million event center and clubhouse that will serve not only the golfers, but also the public to have more events in the park. But instead of being surrounded by the beautiful skyline view, they're gonna be more like a tree house surrounded by the trees. So you can spend all day in the urban core living and working, and just 1 minute away escape to the wilderness. It's amazing. If I were a bird in the sky looking down on Covington, I think a few landmarks would stick out. Of course, you'd have DeVue Park because of all the beautiful green space, but you'd also have two gorgeous churches. One, the very notable Cathedral Basilica of the Assumption, which is an almost exact replica of Notre Dame in Paris. It's stunning. And then you have the Gothic style Mutter Gottes, which was historically a German Catholic church near Mainstrasse Village. And you would also probably notice the Roebling Suspension Bridge, which was completed shortly after the Civil War and engineered by John Roebling, who would later engineer the Brooklyn Bridge. And I also think it's important to note that the Suspension Bridge is owned by Kentucky and not Cincinnati. Covington is a place that offers a lot of opportunities for people who want to be fit. Because it's a city, you have the opportunity to run around the town and to walk everywhere. There's a lot of great restaurants that encourage healthy eating from locally sourced products. Covington is also on the leading edge of the urban farming movement. So a lot of the food that's consumed at some of these restaurants, a lot of the ingredients that are used by some of our celebrated local chefs They're grown right here because the city backs what is called Grow the Cov, the city's urban farming environment. Covington is unique because it has preserved so much of its architecture in its 200 years. You'll find that a lot of the neighborhoods have well-preserved Victorian Italianate architecture. In fact, I think Covington and Newport are probably only behind Louisville in Kentucky as having such large collections and such large preserved examples of this architecture. And it's really a draw. You know, there's a lot of people who live in Covington who say they chose to live here because they were walking around and they were just blown away. I've often suggested that a nickname for the city could be Festival City, because nobody does a party better than Covington, whether it's Mayfest in the spring or Oktoberfest in the fall in Mainstrasse Village, whether it's any of the more minor festivals that take place in between or before or after those two grand festivals. People are having a good time here all year round. If you're a younger person who's into the bar scene, Mainstrasse Village is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Frankly, if you're a little older and into the bar scene or the cocktail hour, Mainstrasse Village is probably going to have something for you. But you could also make your way over to the Roebling Point area, which is a little closer to the suspension bridge, where you'll find places like Keystone and Blinkers, and you'll find people enjoying wine on the sidewalks while someone's playing a stringed instrument outside, which creates a really cool European vibe. You might stroll up Madison Avenue and see some old rock legend who's about to take the stage at the Madison Theater. You might head over to the city's east side and enjoy a musical in the fully restored Carnegie, where they've been putting on shows for more than 100 years now. One of the great things about living in the city is watching the kids go to school in the morning. It sort of gets the day started, which is great. So Covington offers great walkability and neighborhood schools. So if you live downtown, or if you live even in the central part of Covington, you can walk with your kid to school. They don't have to ride the bus for the most part, which is pretty cool. Covington is part of the Red Bike sharing program that started in Cincinnati. So now it's fully connected in the bike sharing program to the Cincinnati side of the river, as well as to Newport and Bellevue here on the Kentucky side. So there is a growing and excited bike community here in Covington. So you'll see a lot of those bikes out on the roads in the downtown area. What you'll also find if you go up to DeVue Park is a group of volunteers that have created these mountain biking trails that are the envy of the world all throughout the park. And you'll find people that are coming from all over the country just to take their bike down these trails. They're very, very cool. If you're flying into Cincinnati, you're flying into an airport that's called CVG. The CVG stands for Covington. So that should give you an indication that Covington is in the middle of the greater Cincinnati metropolitan area. You're talking about an area that has more than 2 million people in it, and Covington is right in the middle of it. So whether you want to shop at a suburban mall, whether it be in Florence, whether it be north in Kenwood, whether you work downtown, if you want to walk, or if you want to drive, if you want to ride a bike, Covington is exactly the place you want to be because you're in the center. So you're close to just about everything. Think about this. Let's say the Reds or the Bengals are in town and they're playing. You can walk to the stadiums faster than somebody who lives in Over the Rhine. Covington is on the rise, and you can feel it walking down the street. You see the energy, you feel the energy, you can actually see the progress, you can hear the jackhammers, you can hear the dumpsters being full of construction debris. You can see the signs that are going up that denote organizations that are here to help entrepreneurs propel their startups. There are agencies here whose sole purpose is to fund new businesses or to fund construction opportunities for people. People are making investments in Covington, and I think you would only see that if they believe these investments are going to pay off. The time to invest in Covington is here, and all of the possibilities lie before us. And I think that it's just so obvious. All you have to do is take one short walk around downtown Covington and know that this is a city on the rise.